Old Hollywood was more than a mere playground for vintage glamour and dazzling celebrity. It was a realm where legendary movie stars dazzled audiences with unforgettable performances while harboring secrets that were anything but picture perfect. Behind the polished veneers and carefully crafted studio personas of the golden era, whispers of scandal, conflict, and hidden struggles circulated like wildfire, challenging the public's romantic notions of classic cinema. The men who graced these films weren't just handsome faces or charming voices. Each actor was a complex individual grappling with personal demons, fraught relationships, and immense pressures imposed by an unforgiving industry. These icons, now immortalized in the history of vintage movie making, were still human beings underneath the lights and camera angles that turned them into movie star royalty. As you journey through these stories, you'll discover how fame and fortune collided with fragile egos, leaving an indelible mark on Hollywood's legacy, proving once again that even legends can't escape their pasts. Cary Grant remains one of Hollywood's most puzzling figures. Audiences adored him as the suave gentleman who glided through comedies and thrillers with a wry smile and an effortless charm. Yet behind that immaculate facade, hushed conversations pointed to a man wrestling with deep-rooted insecurities. Some say he experimented with hallucinogens to untangle memories from a troubled past, hoping to banish old ghosts once and for all. Hollywood power brokers scrambled to put an end to these rumors, terrified of damaging his pristine reputation. Close friends, however, insisted he was on a personal odyssey for self-discovery, drawn to any path that might illuminate the murkier corners of his psyche. Others whispered that heartbreak from a fractured home life secretly shaped his relentless drive for on-screen perfection. Despite the swirl of speculation, he remained a closed book, polite, polished, and politely evasive. Even now, people still wonder how much of that famous poise was real and how much was carefully staged. One thing's for sure, behind his dazzling tuxedo and perfect comedic timing, Cary Grant was far more than just a Hollywood gentleman. They called Clark Gable the King of Hollywood for good reason. With his rugged features, piercing eyes, and disarming grin, Gable's screen presence turned countless moviegoers into admirers. On set, he radiated confidence and pulled off roles that demanded both tough bravado and hidden vulnerability. Few, however, knew the complexities lurking beneath that royal facade. Rumors swirled that he fathered a secret child, a subject often tiptoed around in the press. Studio heads, terrified of tarnishing his profitable image, worked overtime to squash any talk of paternity suits or behind-the-scenes romances. Some claimed he carried on fiery affairs while cameras weren't rolling, leaving a trail of whispered gossip wherever he went. Despite it all, Gable's fans never lost their infatuation. Even as scandalous stories trickled out, the public adored his commanding presence. Yet the contrast between what the world saw and who he truly was proved that even kings have hidden corners of their realm. Gregory Peck was the embodiment of quiet dignity and moral fortitude, capturing the hearts of moviegoers worldwide with his sincere performances and commanding yet understated presence. Born Eldred Gregory Peck in 1916, he challenged the standard Hollywood model by advocating for characters that radiated honesty and conviction. His portrayal of Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird became a cultural landmark, reflecting not only his on-screen idealism, but also his off-screen devotion to social causes. Though studios tried to cast him in purely heroic roles, Peck refused to be boxed in. He accepted gritty, complex parts that revealed a man unafraid to question authority. Close associates describe him as conscientious and deeply principled, sometimes clashing with directors who undervalued authentic storytelling. Yet behind that calm exterior, Peck reportedly wrestled with his own self-doubts, quietly questioning whether he measured up to the moral figures he depicted. Still, he persevered, driven by an unwavering belief in the power of empathy. Paul Newman seemed to glide through Hollywood with a rare combination of cool charisma and heartfelt sincerity, his radiant blue eyes becoming an emblem of old Hollywood allure. He first captured attention in films like Cool Hand Luke and The Hustler, balancing ruggedness and vulnerability. Few realized the pressures he faced behind the scenes. When the spotlight weighed heavily on him, he confided in a tight circle, seeking guidance to remain true to his principles. Determined to be more than a handsome face, Newman sought roles that questioned social norms, forging a reputation as both a formidable actor and a strong civil rights supporter. Off-screen, he launched philanthropic ventures like Newman's own, channeling profits to charity. Still, friends noted he worried about letting fans down or failing to meet the moral standard he set for himself. That humility and dedication to good causes preserved his status as a legend who never fell prey to Hollywood's darker temptations. Rock Hudson stood tall as Hollywood's quintessential leading man, his broad shoulders and effortless charm catapulting him into stardom in romantic comedies and sweeping dramas alike. Off-screen, however, he faced a vastly different narrative that the industry worked diligently to disguise. Many saw him as an invulnerable heartthrob, but he quietly wrestled with the burden of maintaining a carefully constructed public persona. Industry insiders orchestrated staged dates and photo ops to reinforce the image of a carefree bachelor, even as whispers about his private life refused to dissipate. Underneath that gleaming surface was a sensitive individual who yearned for authenticity in a world obsessed with appearance. Close friends recall his genuine kindness and gentle spirit, traits he often had to mask for fear of losing roles. When rumors threatened his stardom, Hudson stoically weathered the storm, choosing discretion over open defiance. Through it all, he remained a gracious fixture on set, professional to the last frame. Errol Flynn soared to fame as Hollywood's original swashbuckling hero, wielding swords and swinging from ropes with a fearless grin in classics like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood. His athletic prowess and devil-may-care attitude endeared him to audiences who longed for grand escapism. Yet beyond the thrilling action sequences, Flynn was notorious for embracing a party lifestyle that often overshadowed his cinematic achievements. Industry insiders murmured about late-night soirees, high-stakes gambling, and a penchant for living life on his own terms. Some found his self-assured nature intoxicating, while others claimed it concealed deeper insecurities he refused to confront. Despite repeated brushes with controversy, Flynn never seemed to lose the infectious zest that defined his on-screen persona. Even as tabloids latched onto every scandal, he continued to captivate moviegoers with dashing performances that showcased both skill and swagger. To his fans, he remained the gallant hero ready to conquer any challenge. Tyrone Power was a shining symbol of classic Hollywood sophistication, boasting chiseled features and a refined demeanor that made him an immediate favorite with both fans and critics. Rising to prominence in swashbuckling adventures like The Mark of Zorro, he revealed a flair for deft swordplay and a magnetic stage presence. Yet Power's range extended well beyond dashing heroics. He took on brooding, dramatic roles that unveiled an actor hungry for more challenging material. Off-screen, his life was a study in contrasts. Friends described him as polite, thoughtful, and perpetually dedicated to perfecting his craft. Meanwhile, he navigated a whirlwind schedule of premieres, publicity events, and relentless studio demands that often left him emotionally drained. Rumors occasionally swirled about private bouts of self-doubt, hinting that he struggled to reconcile the public's idealized view with his own sense of identity. Despite these quiet battles, he radiated poise, driven by an unwavering commitment to excellence in every role. James Dean remains the eternal symbol of youthful rebellion in Hollywood, blazing through the 1950s with an intensity that continues to captivate audiences. His smoldering gaze and restless energy in films like Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden made him an icon overnight. Behind that on-screen persona, however, lurked a sensitive soul wrestling with isolation and misunderstood ambition. Some said he was prone to sudden mood swings, guarded about his personal relationships, and haunted by the fear that he could never live up to his own expectations. Critics hailed him as a rare talent capable of raw vulnerability, an actor who wore his heart on his sleeve despite the studio machine's constraints. Yet just as his star began its ascent, tragedy cut short his meteoric rise in the blink of an eye, freezing him forever in the public's imagination as the quintessential rebel. His myth grew larger in death, cementing him as Hollywood's ultimate lost cause. Marlon Brando shattered the mold of traditional screen acting, bringing a raw intensity that made Hollywood audiences sit up and take notice. Whether playing the tortured Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire or the passionate dock worker in On the Waterfront, he delivered performances marked by an authenticity seldom seen before. Off-screen, he proved just as rebellious, frequently clashing with directors and studio executives who bristled at his refusal to conform. Rumors circulated of stormy love affairs and personal entanglements that stretched the boundaries of Hollywood convention. Brando openly criticized the industry's superficiality and even refused an Academy Award to protest social injustices, further cementing his status as a controversial figure. Yet behind the fierce independence, some say he battled his own insecurities, questioning whether he truly deserved the legendary status he acquired almost overnight. His dedication to method acting, though, forever changed how performers approached their craft, rewriting the rules for generations of stars to come. But if you thought you'd seen it all, old Hollywood still hides more twists and secrets than we can possibly imagine. From the suave mystery of Cary Grant to the rebellious genius of Marlon Brando, the icons of old Hollywood remind us that beneath the glamour and spotlights, even legends battled inner demons, fierce expectations, and hidden truths. But their stories don't end here. Stay tuned for Part 2, where we'll delve deeper into the lives of more captivating stars who walk the fine line between fame and personal turmoil. Prepare yourself for revelations even more astonishing, scandals even more shocking, and hidden struggles that continue to echo through Hollywood's storied history. Because in old Hollywood, the closer you look, the more fascinating and human these legends become. Don't miss what's coming next. If you enjoyed unearthing these behind-the-scenes stories, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more.